All right, my name is Hiram Shelton. This is my video on contributions to victimization and criminality. So first I'm going to be looking at some theories that apply to poverty, race, and gender. And these theories are strain theory, social disorganization theory, and social learning theory. And so the first one, strain theory, this really comes down to people not having the resources and tools that they need to survive. And so there's the strain in their life that they have to kind of go beyond normal means in order to survive, in order to make ends meet, in order to take care of their family. And that's where crime becomes almost morale, becomes more sensible. It's almost like a common sense thing rather than a crime, because they feel that they have to commit a crime in order to help their family, in order to make their lives more manageable. And so this becomes serious with poverty and race, because people that are in poverty and that are different races do struggle more than people that are just white and grew up in good, communities that have the resources and the tools and the money. And so they're struggling more, and that is going to contribute a lot when it comes to crime. Then there's also social learning theory. And so parents are going to teach their children, where the resources are and who to look for, and how to help, and how they can help. And so it's on both sides. So parents, white parents that grew up in, financially well-off communities are going to be parents that are, got college education and are going to help their children in every grade, and they're going to have friends that can help their children get jobs that pay more. Whereas, children that are almost always different race and grow up in a very poor economy with low finances are in a situation where they do not have resources, and they don't have parents that can help them with their homework, and they don't have friends that can help them get a good career. And so it's and they learn from their friends and their family where resources can come from and where to be looking, and what's really available to them. And then there's also social disorganization theory, and this theory really relies on the breakdown of social controls, meaning that it's the lack of community, it's the lack of support as a community. And so when you have a community that is really not financially stable, there's a lot of crime in, then often the school is going to have less resources, and it's going to be a public school, and the public school is going to not have clean restrooms, are not going to have new books. It comes down to all of it, and their children are not going to have the abilities and the resources to really be successful. Now, when it comes to actually intersecting victimization and criminality, they all do come together. And what I mean by that is that race, gender, and class, they do not they're not independent of each other, but they actually work together. So particularly women of color that are Black or Latina, they face multiple forms of discrimination. And that could be from racial profiling to gendered violence. They're facing, Black women are far more often victims of crime, which then perpetuates them to be more likely to be criminals themselves because of being a victim. And almost always criminals have been victims. And so when we're looking at, who is more likely to be a criminal as to who's been victimized, it's not really fair, because Black women they're far more likely to be victimized and used and abused, and there's really no one there to stop and to help them. sorry, and so they come together, and so people of color are often more likely to be in low income communities. They're they experience poverty and racial discrimination. It's never just one, but they work together, and because of that, it becomes so much more difficult. A black person commits a crime, and they're far less likely to have the money to be legally represented well, and so then they kind of just get the local uh, the local lawyer who got his lawyer's degree, his Juris Doctorate from a a lesser college, a lesser university, um, whereas someone in Utah who grew up in Provo or Orem might have family who went to BYU and got a great Juris Doctorate from BYU, and they're going to be far more well represented simply because of their resources and their economic status. And so there really is kind of this link between race and poverty and gender, and when it comes down to it, it's a really huge factor into who is committing crimes and who is the victim of crimes, and black people and people of color and Hispanic people, which obviously black people are people of color, but they they have the short end of the stick when it comes to crime and to victimization, and especially when it comes to sentencing and other things. And so it's really quite interesting and very unfortunate, and I think there needs to be a lot of work done to change these things around. And so thanks for listening.